Good evening. Match 6 of the 1987 Cricket World Cup was played here today in Ahmedabad. It was the Group 2 match between Australia versus England, the first match between two Test play nations in this tournament. And what can I say? What a game of cricket this was. Up there with Zimbabwe versus New Zealand in terms of the actual drama. It's even worse. Let's see that. That's better. England won the toss on a normal pitch, on a slow normal pitch, and elected the field first. Only the second time that the teams elected the field first in the tournament, and they did pretty well. They reduced Australia to 235 for 9 for their 50 overs. 62 for Jeff Marsh, 2 for David Boone, a duck for Dean Jones, a brilliant 69 from the captain. Alan Balder, 57 for Steve Waugh, 57 off just 51 deliveries from Steve Waugh, 3 for Simon O'Donnell, 12 for Greg Dyer. Was it Greg Dyer, the wicket keeper? Greg Dyer, yep. 20 off just 17 deliveries for Peter Taylor. We'll talk about him in a moment. 1 for Craig McDermott and 1 for Tim May. As I made 235 for 9 for their 50 overs. Absolutely fascinating game. 1 for 32 for Graham Gooch. Only his 4th one-day international wicket. 0 for 36 for Derek Pringle. 1 for 39 for John Embry. Gladstone Small, expensive, but took 2 for 59. 1 for 40 for Neil Foster, and 2 for 29 for Philip de Freitas, who bowled very tightly. In response, England's response, they got off to a rapid start. Graham Gooch, 55 of just 60 deliveries, was absolutely superb. But then Australia started to take control. They were 155 for 7 at 153 for 7 at one stage, and it looked like Australia were about to pull off a famous victory against England. Remember, Australia have had 2 miserable World Cups in the last 2 tournaments, out in the quarterfinals, and obviously desecrated by World Series cricket. This is the first time in 12 years that they've had a proper side for this competition. They've seen a bit more harmonious, unlike the previous 2 tournaments. Alan Balder certainly has got his team playing, and they played brilliantly today. 3 for Chris Broad, 12 for Tim Robinson, 17 for the captain Mike Gattin, 12 for Derek Pringle, 3 for the wicket-keeper Paul Doughton. And at 153 for 7, it looked like it was game over. There was 14 for John Embry. But then a wonderful partnership of 56 between Allan Lamb and Philip de Freitas stuck around with him for about 10-12 overs, got 23 or 44 balls. Neil Foster ended up hitting 9 off just 8 deliveries. They needed 16 off the final over to win, which Bruce Reid ended up bowling. And in the end, Allan Lamb was 75 not out of 103 deliveries. Single-handed got the 16 runs in just 3 balls, repeating what he did 8 months ago. There was a World Series match in Sydney where they needed 22 of the final over to win, and he hit 22 off final 5 balls. Allan Lamb to win that match. So Allan Lamb is repeating the feat here today. They must be absolutely sick and tired of seeing him. Australia, absolutely sensational from Allan Lamb. 75 not out of 103 deliveries, and pulling off a sensational victory with 3 balls to spare. Peter Taylor, 20 off 12 deliveries, did not bowl. The reason why he did not bowl is that he'd been vomiting throughout the entire day. And he was not on the pitch at all throughout the Australian innings. And he obviously has got what we would call the Delhi belly, or the Ahmedabad belly. So Peter Taylor did not bowl at all, which is incredibly frustrating, because that his leg spin could have made a huge difference for Australia. In the end, Australian bowlers did their best. Tim May, fantastic, 4 for 42 from his 10 overs. 1 for 32 for Steve Waugh, completing a fantastic match for him. 0 for 44 for Simon O'Donnell. 1 for 49 for McKee bowler. Craig McDermott, he'll be disappointed that he went for quite a few, but as I said, Bruce Reid, he had 16 runs to play with on that final over. He got whacked for 16 off just 3 deliveries, ended up with 1 for 65. A nightmare for Bruce Reid. Will he recover from that? We'll have to wait and see. The final outcome of this wonderful match between Australia and England. Again, England won the toss, selected the field first. They reduced Australia to 235 for 9 for their 50 overs. At 153 for 7. Let's just double check it was 153 for 7. Yeah, 100. The game was over. It looked like Australia were going to win, but a magnificent 75 off 103 balls and 16 off the final over from Allan Lamb, repeating what he did in Sydney 8 months ago against the same opposition. Got England to 236 for 8. England winning by 2 wickets with only 3 balls remaining. The man of the match, amazingly though, was Tim May for his 4 for 42. He did what Peter Taylor probably could have done, but who knows what could have happened had Peter Taylor been able to bowl and wasn't sick. Wonderful victory for England. Their highest successful run chase in World Cup history. This is what it does to Group 2. England are second in the group. And what a start to the tournament. Australia have certainly proved their point, I would think. That they are, Alan Ball has said, we're not here to make up the numbers. We are here to try and win the tournament. And if they play as well as that, then they should. Then they could be a threat in this tournament. Tomorrow's match, Zimbabwe against the Rebel South African 11. Both teams looking for their first win of the tournament. So Rebel South African 11 looking for their first ever win in World Cup history with those county championship players which they've got. Zimbabwe looking to bounce back after their epic defeat against New Zealand in the opening match of the tournament. Let's have a look at the star players. You may notice that the star bowler, one of the star bowlers did not play today. Eddie Hemmings, the slow left armour, was not picked. They obviously went with Derek Prindle was the medium pacer and Foster and Small alongside De Freitas. Obviously it worked, but let's have a look at the averages now. Not a great start for David Boone, averaging 2 in his opening match. Good start to the tournament for Jeff Miles, 62 average. Steve Waugh, 57 with a bat and 32 with a ball so far. He had a very good match and was also a contender for man of the match as well. 1 wicket in the tournament for McDermott, expensive so far. Still early days yet. 55 with a bat and 32 with a ball for Graham Gooch of England. Good start to the tournament. No average yet for Allan Lamb, but what an innings of 75 of 103 deliveries to win them the game. 2 wickets for De Freitas, averaging 14 and 23 with a bat. So still early days yet, and obviously Eddie Hemmings did not play today. That's what it looks like so far for the averages in this World Cup. What a game. That is up there with New Zealand and Zimbabwe as one of the games of the tournament. Australia and England living up to expectation. England's second win against Australia in what was their first appearance against their first matchup since that famous semi-final in 1975 where Australia won an absolute enthralling match by 4 wickets, chasing 94. Or, as you will see in that famous match. Tomorrow's match, match 7. Zimbabwe against Rebel South African 11. Both teams looking for their first win of the tournament. Zimbabwe looking to bounce back from that epic defeat in the opening game against New Zealand. Rebel South African 11 looking to build upon their fantastic performance against the West Indies. But for me now, this is Lawrence Howard reporting on the 98-7 Cricket World Cup here, being played in India on Pride Live Cricket and PlayStation. And we'll see you tomorrow for match 7 of the tournament between Zimbabwe and the Rebel South African 11. Until then, it's bye-bye from me.